Your ProMaster is squealing on startup. Let's take a look. One good tool to use to try to isolate this noise would be like automotive stethoscope. Put these in your ears, put the probe up to what the part you think is has a failed bearing, and you should be able to hear which part failed. In my case, it's either going to be that alternator or the idler pulleys, because they are just common failures on the ProMasters. Alright, so in my case, I'm going to need a new alternator. While I'm there, I'm going to go ahead and replace my idler pulleys. So step one will be to disconnect the negative battery terminal. The way you release your belt is you're either going to have a half-inch drive ratchet or a 3/8 square here. So you can use breaker bar and release that. So there's our problem. Our alternator pulley seem fine. We're going to replace those anyway because they are also a wear item on this vehicle, and they will attack this alternator. For the pulleys, you just need 13, and you'll just back them off and then replace them. One thing to note is that there are two different styles. One is a smooth pulley and one is grooved. Alright, to get to this alternator, we actually have to drop this AC compressor, which is going to be 3 size 13s and also a connector. That's our view of the AC compressor dropped. Now you got much more space. We do have to take back our pulley back off here because one of our bolts to the alternator is actually hidden. And you have 2 connectors on the back of the alternator. This is also going to be a size 13 for the nut, and 1 plug, which you just slide up. Alright, so we got our pulley back off, which exposes a size 13 right here that we're going to bag out. Also came, released our clip, so slid that back, disconnect that. I also got my size 13 loosened up. Alright, then you're going to have 2 13s right there. I like to use a ratcheting wrench 13 because the space is very limited and these bolts are very long when they come out. That's the only tool that I've been able to have some success with. Alright, so we got our 2 bolts loosened up. And our alternator's wiggling. Now we just need to come back for a 13 and we'll be ready to drop it out. Alright, so we got the alternator out, as you can see. Let's come over here. Oh. Yeah. So our alternator was making a noise here. Let's get the new one in. So the way you want to kind of set up your install, go ahead and run the bolts through the top here, and then we're going to use this little claw to get back on that bolt to install it. Then we're going to rock it and tilt it forwards. And once your screws catch, you'll start them. Hang on. Alright, I got my screws started. Now it's just a matter of tightening up those 2 13s, putting back your positive cable there, and then pushing that back in. So let me go ahead and get these steps completed. Alright, got our new alternator installed. Put our pulley back on, and we'll be ready for our belt. Alright, got our alternator back on, got our pulley back on. Now all we do is just put our AC compressor back up, and then we'll be ready for our belt. I'm going to show you how to route this belt. These tensioners, actually, if you pull back enough, they actually lock to allow you to route the belt, so you're not having to fight that. But pretty much the belt's going to go around that power steering pump, on top of that grooved pulley, around the alternator, around the smooth pulley, around the AC compressor, up and over the water pump, back down around the crankshaft pulley, and then onto the actual tensioner. And now we just release that. Make sure I'm on. Alright, ready to go. This tensioner is actually no good. It's not supposed to be wiggling like that. So there's supposed to be some spring tension. So we're going to go ahead and replace that. With replacing our new tensioner, you see this little squared edge, little squared peg goes into that squared hole right there. Alright, we have our tension back on our tensioner. Everything is ready to go. Let's fire it up. All fixed. Nice and quiet and smooth. Like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.